Hello, this talk is on the Western martial arts, which is such as Pankration, which is the Greek form of boxing, and kickboxing and Jujitsu, basically. And the talk basically is about this kind of idea of Western martial arts being the original martial arts and of going spreading all through the world. So maybe martial arts went from the west to the east rather than the east to the west. You can find out more about Pankration by searching for a Pankration video on YouTube, or checking out about the Roman army or Greek Olympics. The Roman army practiced Pankration as part of their training, as well as athletics and distance marching. So we can talk also about Old English boxing. Now, during the time of Tom Cribb, who was a bare knuckle boxer before Marquis of Queensbury rules, there were punches, locks, and kicks and throws in boxing, and you can see the similarity between that and Pankration. Also, you can see in a book of German medieval fighting techniques similar things to Pankration. So maybe it was that when the Roman army spread all out throughout Europe, they took over certain things over into Germany, and from there the Germans originally, that's where the English came from, took them into boxing and took them over to Britain. Now the human body only works in a certain amount of ways, so this is why you're going to get a similarity between the different martial arts. Now you can see that this is happening more and more today with MMA, mixed martial arts, which started off as different martial arts competing against each other. You put a judo player against a boxer, or a boxer against a karate guy, but you're seeing that the things that don't work are being dropped, and the things that do work are being enhanced. So MMA has become its own martial art. So you've got Jujitsu in there, which is about locks, throws, pressure points, punches and kicks as well. And the similarity between Pankration and Jujitsu is very stark. You can see it in the mosaics and on the pottery from Greece and Rome, where you're seeing because the gladiators used Pankration in their fighting in the Colosseum. You can see how similar the locks and throws are to Jiu-Jitsu throws. There's even described in Tom Cribb's famous fight against an African boxer, where he used a hip throw and what's called a key lock, which is very much similar to the leverage put on by pushing down on the shoulder and pushing up, like in a similar way to the half Nelson. And you can see all through the Royal Marines training. The Royal Marines and the Navy particularly kept these sort of things up, the locks and all of that, half Nelson, full Nelson, key lock. All these locks come from boxing. So it's not surprising that when the Victorians and Georgians went abroad to China and India to fight wars, they recognised things that the locals were doing, because those things that the locals are doing may have originated in the West with the Western peoples, the Romans, the Greeks, the Germans, and the other peoples of the West. All of these things, though, were taken as part of the overall Olympic spirit of being a very multitask, polymathic athlete, being able to run distances, and all of the conditioning that was needed. Now you can see that I'm a former practitioner of Jiu-Jitsu, but I've never had the chance to do Pankration, which I'd really like to do. So if any of you can leave me any comments, and as you can tell, I'm from London in England, you can tell me about any clubs or anything. I hope I've sparked some sort of discussion, and tell me your views on whether the origin of the martial arts came from the West or from the East.